Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the season one finale of Stealing Immortality by the Old Ways. We're happy to have you here. We hope that you've been as excited to get to this as we are. I will just let our friends in chat verify that they can hear us as we get through introductions to make sure that everyone can be heard. So at the top of the show, we'd like to, as we always do, we'd like to acknowledge our people and our friends and the lovely, lovely people in chat. Thank you so much. And we'd like to remind you that this is a setting, a game setting where we will be playing within the world of darkness. And that means that there'll be some mature themes throughout the story tonight. So hide your kids, as they say. Um, I'd also like to mention, as a bit of a show announcement, the show will be back on stream in the month of June with not one, but two very special charity streams that we are doing. We'll be doing a charity stream in June for Trans Lifeline. And so we have a special keeper that's going to come onto the show, and they are going to do an amazing job with the crew that they have put together. And then also on June 27th, so back to back Fridays, so June 20th for Trans Lifeline, and then June 27th, we're also going to be wrapping up our virtual six charity drive for Lupus Foundation of America, and we're going to be streaming here for Lupus of America on the 27th. So you can come join us then. But in the meantime, I'm going to get to our character and player introductions, which will begin now.
Hi, this is Morgan. I play Genevieve de Montfort, otherwise known as Marie. We are part of Clan La Sombra and I say we because we are like the same person now.
Yeah,
I mean, generally. And so yeah, for the final time this season.
that's right. Just don't freak people out. Just for the final time this season, we
Ah,
certainly look forward to future fun with the trio. So thank you for joining us, Morgan. We look forward to seeing what Genevieve gets up to tonight. Next to Genevieve.
Hi, I'm Bunny. I'm playing the Toreador vampire Emerenzia. Our pronouns are she, her, and it's going to be weird to not be hitting on anything for a little while. Um, but you'll see me in chat as Fiery Ashes as well as in the Discord and in other projects. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to what Egypt has to offer, what things with legs and pulses that I can get into trouble with, and we'll go from there.
Oh, it'll be rife with opportunities here, of no doubt. Of no doubt. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, I'm Allie, and I am playing our vampire Bruja, Ophelia Sellos, and I am very glad we're going to Alexandria.
Indeed, indeed. Perhaps there are yet relics from a once and powerful library. Oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So we are going to get into it tonight, just as you come off the boat of your wonderful gangrel captain. You've sailed into the port of Alexandria, and it is a beautiful moonlit night. I think the sea air is something that captivates all of you. It's a little different here. The temperature is a little warmer. Even your bodies, as dead as they are, still pick up on the differences. And perhaps with age that may change, but the port is quiet. It is filled with fishermen and traders from all over the Mediterranean who are likely here, regular mortals just living out their lives, having no idea that three new kindred are about to step off and into the sands. That said, they offer you a hand down. The crew assists you in gathering your things. And first mate Mateo is happy to help point you in the right direction of where to go next. He mentions that the captain and he have been in port at Alexandria a few times, and that there is a local nightly watering hole where many travelers stop in at. And you might be able to blend into the night and hopefully find some measure of peaceful slumber when the day arrives. But you get a sense, each one of you now get a sense that you are, in some ways, while still together, you are on your own. None of you have a vast army of retainers that gets off the boat with you. You have no holdings here in Egypt as of yet. I'm certain that Genevieve will secure hers very soon, but um, you're going to have to work from the ground up. And so they point you towards that watering hole. And Mateo is happy to have the crew help you with your things to the place to secure lodgings, if you're interested.
Do we have a great many things? I wasn't aware that I brought a ton of things with me.
I definitely didn't bring a ton of things with me. I brought like the sack that my sire gave me, and I had it in like my bag with like the clothes that were on my back. I didn't bring anything extra.
Okay.
So
I mean, I brought a couple bags with me. But
The Toreador Pact, let's be honest.
yeah. Plus, I mean, most of the planning happened at my house, so I had more time to pack than everyone else.
Yeah,
and
you got to have options. Like, you got to have options.
I have clothing options that I need to be like. Could you imagine only having the one outfit with me arriving in a new place?
You would die.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like that. So yeah, I brought a couple bags with me of clothing and supplies for keeping my harp in good condition, and you know, the huge.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
huge.
Plus,
The bare necessities.
simple, bare necessities, of course. There is a Mateo points you basically in the direction of a hostel, was in effect an inn, a house for people who travel, and he says that the man who keeps it, a Gentile, Matthew, would be happy to allow you to rest there, provided he has rooms. I don't know as far as resources go with between the three of you who has actual money, but I would imagine anybody who has dots of resources would have some coin to be able to pay for the rooms. Anyway,
I only have one dot of resources.
Okay, so you have like probably a few coins. So they're probably more sentimental. I mean, certainly someone would probably take them, but you maybe don't want to necessarily give them up.
yeah, I actually do have 2 dots in resources, so I probably what is in my my master provided me, like that sack had some cash in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly.
So I guess the question is, ladies, do we want to share a room or have separate rooms?
It wouldn't be unusual for ladies traveling alone to room together.
Correct.
Good room with you too. I mean, my other option is go perform at a nearby drinking hole and see what bed I end up in for the night. But going with you two, at least our first night while we get the lay of the land, makes the most sense.
Okay.
You head down the vast, intricate streets, or what seemed like it at first. There's a lot of Alexandria is a walled city. You see a couple things which sort of remind you of home in a way. There's an obelisk here that feels familiar because there were those in Constantinople. And if you're not mistaken, on the far side of the city here, there's what looks like a hippodrome. Now, it is nowhere near as vast and as vaulted as the one that was in Constantinople, but they have charity races here. Perhaps those charioteers are centers for trade, influence. And if there are humans here, then there must be members of your kind here. The question is where and whom are they? But no matter. The inn you arrive in has a sign outside of it. It's a simple wheelwrights sign. Looks like the wheel of a vast ship. And below it, there's some words here that are written in a language I don't know if any of you speak. So I will ask if any of you speak Arabic.
No.
No. Not yet.
Yes.
Yes, the Bruja speaks many languages.
She does.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yes, I do speak Arabic.
Yes, it's essentially refers to the setting of the sun. You're not sure it translates directly. And then the proprietor's name is underneath it. You see the name. It doesn't say Matthew. It says something else. It says Aled, something like that. You're not sure. You'll have to inquire inside. The sign looks fairly old.
Okay.
The place does have a fair amount of noise that comes out from the inside. There are fires that are lit inside, whether they're small fires at tables. There's a main fire that sort of flickers. You can see that from some of the windows as you approach. You also hear what sounds like someone singing, like a man singing. A very somewhat boisterous song. For those of you who don't speak Arabic, it's beautiful, right? And it's got a really beautiful melody to it. For you, Ophelia, the song is, well, we would say it's pretty racy. This man is singing about some very particular things. He's singing about a night spent in a harem. I'll just allow our audience and you to extrapolate from there.
All right. And I won't say a word about that because if I still had real blood running through my veins, that blush on my cheeks would be real and out of embarrassment.
Indeed.
So I will talk to the proprietor about getting a room, hopefully with a bed big enough for the three of us.
Is it the three of you entering together? That way I know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the three of you enter, and the main space here is pretty well open. It sort of flies in the face of a lot of taverns that you've been in, especially you, Emerenzia, having been to a couple of different establishments in different regions. Things are very open here. There's a lot of silks that sort of hang from specific spots to act as blocks against sand, you would imagine. But the main floor is open, and there's the aforementioned man singing, and then there are a few women that are dancing, and it seems like their audience have circled around them, like in a really wide space. You don't see a lot of traditional tavern tables. There are a few of them. They're more benches that are pushed along the side of the wall where there are a few patrons that sit in corners and drink and maybe stick close to windows for fresh air. There's also a natural aromatic that's on the air. There's something in the air that, as you smell it, is just there's a spice to it. You're not sure. It's hard to pin down exactly what that is. Maybe it's cinnamon. It's hard to tell. But you see the proprietor behind the bar, and as you enter, he comes out from around the bar. Okay, so we have a Hand of Fate played. So let's see here. Just leaving this here, just like a cat leaving a dead mouse on the bedside. Okay, so you redeemed a Hand of Fate positive. That's cool. We love seeing people interact with the channel and use points. So I will just ask to make sure that we're all aligned on this. If you could tell me, Tifa, who are you playing that for? So that way I know who it's been played for. Is there one particular ghoulie you are playing it for? Okay. So we'll bear that in mind in any future interactions in this scene. It's a fairly well-built man. Steps over to the three of you and says, "Good evening, my ladies. The hour is very late. How may I help you?" He says all of this in Arabic, by the way.
I guess I'm the one answering then, because I'm the only one who understands Arabic. So. Sorry, chat. I am recovering from being sick. So if I cough into the microphone, it is highly unintentional. So I'll respond that we are looking for a room with either a very big bed or a couple of beds.
He nods very carefully. Now, systematically, none of the three of you, I believe, have Flush of Health or the merit that allows you. Are you using it?
I have Blush of Life.
Okay, so you're.
Yeah.
Okay. So he looks at you and nods and says, "Is everyone here in good health?"
Yes, we're just from Greece.
Okay, so you're going to have to make
I know.
manipulation subterfuge roll because that is a flat out lie.
It is sure. It sure is.
You are not from Greece.
We are not from Greece.
I mean, sort of me, sort of.
Yeah, by
Kinda,
like
sorta.
the transitive properties of the Dhamma, yes, but like you're not. I mean, directly.
What am I rolling? Manipulation subterfuge?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. Listen, I've got some dice in that. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 successes. Sorry, that is 3 successes. I can't count.
Counting is fundamental.
Yes, that's 3 successes.
He looks at you and sort of narrows his eyes a little bit. Greeks, huh? He says in Greek.
I'll say in Greek. Finally a language I know.
And I'll respond, yes, from Greek.
I have a room that could suit the three of you. Are there any members of your party who are yet unaccounted for? Any sailors or caravan leaders or?
No, it was a long voyage here, but it's just the 3 of us that will be staying here tonight.
He
The
nods.
others will be staying with the ship.
Very well. I shall return with the key. He moves back around the bar table and you see him look for something under the bar, and then he returns again just a few moments later as the music and the sense of this tavern begin to sort of take hold. And he places a key in your hand, Emerenzia.
Oh, okay.
Peace be with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it takes a little bit, Genevieve, but you think you know what that scent is. It is likely coming out of these enormous smoking devices that are positioned on the floor nearby.
Like, are these like hookahs? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep. There's 4 or 5 different sort of tubes that run off of them, or what look like tubes, and then they're fitted with ends, and some of the men here are using them to smoke something. That smell must be the tobacco.
so is it like a group of men using one a piece? Like, is there one person per hookah? I mean, like, what's the ratio?
The mathematical ratio, it's probably like 4 to 6 men per hookah.
Yeah, because a hookah usually has multiple hoses that attach to
Oh,
it.
that's true.
Yes.
I remember seeing Alice in Wonderland.
Mm.
Um, so I think I'll sit down in one of these comfy cushions, assuming there's cushions on the floor.
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah, and partake. Is while in Egypt.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll pause you there just momentarily, as I'll ask if Emerenzia and Ophelia are staying or if they are going to the room to check it out.
I mean, I'll go check out the room, put down my bags and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So the two of you head off to the room, and we'll hang here with Genevieve. You get the distinct impression when you sit down that many women do not do what you've just done. You get that immediate impression as some of the men around you sort of react to you sitting down. They lean away from you. A couple of the men who are somewhat nearby even like physically distance themselves. I wonder how many dots of religion you have.
I have theology.
Yeah, theology will work. Yeah,
Okay. So intelligence theology.
you bet.
All right. Passes are 7 and up.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, 3 successes.
Okay. So you have a pretty easy time figuring out that the reason why they're a little skittish is because, religiously speaking, they're probably not allowed to do that with women.
How much would I care about that?
How much would you care about it? Yeah, actually, I'm going to completely leave that to the player, knowing the character's nature and demeanor.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. I would just keep smoking.
Yeah. So one of them drops the line as they begin to move, and you snatch it up and you begin imbibing. So I don't know if the player has ever smoked from a hookah, but I don't want. We don't judge or.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's not something I've partaken in
Okay.
in my youth.
I mean,
Other things.
there's no time like the present, but given that you're a member of the kindred, you can't really feel the tobacco effects, and you get the impression that as you sit and try to enjoy it, while you can take in the aromatics, you can smell all of the different flavors of the tobacco that they're using. You don't really know when to say when, because you don't really have any experience. And I'm going to let you make a charisma performance roll.
I've played this game. No. I'm sorry, it was a charisma. What?
Charisma performance.
Oh, okay. I got a 4.
You got 4 successes.
I did.
Okay. You begin to make some changes here. A lot of these men that were sitting here seem to be not just taken aback, but some of them are, um, I think inspired is the wrong word, but they begin to pay attention to you. Not as someone who's an outsider, not just that, but they are maybe impressed is the right word. And you can begin to feel that. And you feel like you've made an impression on the room.
I mean, I think with 4 successes, I could totally do the cloud rings.
Yeah. I
If I
mean,
might be so inclined as a,
you have a hand of fate played for you. So if you want to embellish and take narrative and explain what you do while this man sings and these ladies dance for coins, while you're holding now court in this, hookah pit, I'm happy to just give you the narrative and tell us what happens.
no, I just wanted to blow rings, just like the little caterpillar in
Okay.
Alice in Wonderland.
You get a nods of approval from the ladies who are dancing. They laugh. They're having a really good time. And then I'm going to have you, as the minutes sort of roll along there, I'm going to have you make one last roll for me, and that's perception awareness.
Might have done a lot of hookahing, but I got a 4 in the perception awareness roll.
Okay. You got a 4 or 4 successes?
Oh my goodness, 4 successes, sir.
It's important.
I
need the number. The numbers matters. Okay, so you are enjoying your hookah, and you are enjoying your time here holding court. And it isn't terribly long before you notice that you're being looked at from like across this space by a very tanned skinned man who is simply enjoying some sort of beverage. And he has a very wicked looking weapon at his hip. He doesn't look like a pirate. He's dressed in really light clothing as far as the weight of it. You can see the fabric on his sleeves sort of flow a little bit as the breezes come through here. And he is 100% looking your direction.
If the breeze is blowing inward towards me, I mean, am I able to, I don't know, smell if he's human or kindred? Or hear his heartbeat? Or...
You'd probably need Auspex for something like that. So if Auspex is a discipline that you have, you can certainly do that. He has a quite rugged look to him. His beard is probably 4 or 5 inches long. He wears a baldric that he keeps the sword on, so he doesn't have a traditional like English sword belt. It's sort of a wrap that comes around, and he's adorned with all these little tiny silver portions on his clothing. It's almost like little discs. And his head is covered. So he wears a very traditional piece of fabric over his head. Probably keeps the sun off of his head if he goes out during the day.
Yeah, I'll go say he's standing at the bar area or
Yeah, he's near one of those tables that sort of take up the corner spots or the wall spots.
yeah, I'll go slide up to the table that he's at.
He acknowledges your presence, nods to you directly.
I can't help but notice that you're keeping an eye on me. Were you impressed with my smoking skills?
I was impressed with many things, but I'm wondering how many of those men you're going to get killed. Just by sitting down and smoking with them, there are clerics who might decide that their lives are forfeit, that they have made some terrible sin before God.
Well, we've all sinned before God.
I know I have.
Some of us many times, yes. I get that about you.
You just arrived?
Can you tell?
You sound like you're from the east. He sort of inhales towards you. The salt is still on you. Just get off the ship.
Okay, very perceptive. Yeah, what else can you tell?
It's rare that ladies in Egypt travel by themselves. You didn't. You traveled with 2 others. But 3? 3 women traveling together with no caravan, no male escort, no protective guards.
Maybe we can handle ourselves.
Perhaps you can. What else can you handle?
Big sticks.
He raised an eyebrow. Compelling. I am Zahara. He extends a hand, which at the moment you think might be a handshake, and then he raises it up and touches like his chest and gives
Is it beating?
Gives you a nod. And you can't tell if it's beating. Again, you want to hear human heartbeats? You need auspex.
I want to be able to feel. Can't you feel the human heart through your chest?
Are you going to reach out and touch him?
Oh, I thought I was already doing that. I was getting really excited. I'm like,
you are further down the road than I am, but I am happy to meet you there if that's where you need to be.
I thought you put it up against the chest. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Maybe in my head, I was like, yes, go Zara. I'm Marie.
Welcome to Alexandria.
So what do you suggest that 3 women traveling alone do while visiting Alexandria?
Well, if there are women that can take care of themselves, I might be best to keep my mouth shut before I make any suggestions. After all, I hear one of them can handle a big stick.
I think all 3 of us can handle a big stick, if I'm being honest. But
so
I'll let my friends say that.
Not only powerful, but talented.
We are. I know I am.
He stands up a little, and he's not terribly massive by any means. He's probably maybe 2 or 3 inches taller than you are. But when he stands up, a you get the air of something from his presence. There's something that comes out of him when he stands up. It smells like a cologne, perhaps some type of oil. And I'm going to have you make a willpower roll.
Is it because it's that overpowering? Is he wearing Old Spice?
Yes. He's wearing
The
Old Spice.
oldest of spices, actually.
That's right. The oldest of spices.
He starts saying, "I'm on a horse." We're just gonna have to call it a day. Okay. Willpower.
Mm-hmm. While that's happening, can a mod to snooze that ad?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 3. 3 successes. 3 successes.
Yeah, it holds your attention for a minute for sure. Like it tries to grab your attention. It's almost as if um, it didn't come for your brain per se. You've been dominated a couple of different times, and so you knew exactly what dominate feels like. This does not feel like that. If dominate is a swift and strong hand around your throat telling you what to do, this is more like someone took their index finger and slowly ran it up your neck till it's under your chin to try to get your attention.
Yeah, feeling that, I swallow like deeply. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
We don't get many of our kind here.
What kind is that? Intelligent, good looking.
He faces away from the bar and tries to almost make like the conversation a little bit more private. And you hear him lean in towards you when he whispers this and he says, "We are unique in some ways. We are set apart from those around the fire or the man singing, the woman dancing. We're different. We have different needs. You are as pale as the moonlight, which is a fairly rare trait here. But you're not the only one in your party who's pale and pallor as death. You're easier to pick out."
We are from Greece. Come in all different shades.
Of course. I simply wished to have a moment to warn you that the streets are not as plentiful, perhaps, from where you're from. Alexandria is a small city compared to Cairo. And so I bid you be careful in these streets should you get hungry.
No, where do you go for food?
There are those who have carefully cultivated the right people. If you are in need of something, perhaps I could assist you.
For a price, I'm sure.
Oh, we are hospitable people here. But I would need to know more about you and those you are traveling with. There are some amongst our kind that I cannot be as hospitable with.
In my head, I'm like, please don't say Clan Lasabra. I'm sorry, you mean from the clans?
He nods. Usurpers, those who have stolen, those who have taken rather than been properly prepared. We do not deal with usurpers here.
Oh, well, we're not any of those. I promise.
He sort of piques his interest at the word promise. Very well. Tomorrow night, unless the need is immediate, I'm happy to meet you and your friends. There is a forum not too terribly far from this place. I can take you below and introduce you to the Covenant.
I lean in a little and whisper in his ear. That sounds great. Till tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. He lingers there for a moment when you lean in. There's almost as if there's a desire for physical contact. But he respectfully pulls away.
I wink at him and head towards where Ophelia and Emerenzia had gone. Bow to the men at the hookahs as I walk by.
Okay. So in the room, that scene with Jeremy took maybe probably 15, 20 minutes. In the room itself, there are two beds. They are on either side. There is a place to put your things. This room is way better appointed than the ship was for sure. Like there are actual places to unwind here. There are chairs, chamber pot. There's no window, which is to be expected, I guess. But there are definitely signs. At one point, there might have been. There's probably mice in here, certainly. But you won't be keeping any foodstuffs, probably, so that probably isn't as much of an issue. The two of you are able to get settled if that's what you want to do.
I'm gonna just like flop down on one of the beds
Mhm.
and like stretch out because we've been in like close quarters on the ship for a while, and it's like just a chance to like stretch out on something that is like more well appointed and a little bit probably softer than what we were sleeping on.
Yeah, I mean, you won't necessarily have to have a ghoulie sandwich in here because there are two beds. Doesn't mean you couldn't push the beds together and have one massive bed to roll around on. And that might be something that Emerenzia thinks about at some point. But then again, if this is going to become a temporary home base, you might need places to put partygoers or fans of your music. So having two beds is not a bad thing.
Um,
No.
so
Sure
I'm just
beats,
gonna.
stacks the goods, huh, Ophelia?
Oh yeah, and I'm just gonna like luxuriate for like I don't know 4 or 5 minutes before setting up. So now that we're here, what should we do?
I mean, you seemed the most interested in Alexandria. Did you have any um,
There is the
ideations about what we do here in the long run?
not necessarily in the long run, but there's a lot of potential history here for my clan that I wanted to try to find and bring back, especially if there's like old and ancient secrets. So I wanted to do like some general research and maybe see if I can't find down any members of the clan that might be here. Though I don't have the foggiest idea how to set about doing that other than hoping I get lucky.
Fair enough. How long are you hoping we stay?
2, maybe 3 weeks. We don't have to like settle here.
Well, if we're going to be here that long, then I might need to start performing and get some fans started.
As a place to feed, I imagine. Because I don't know about you, but I am tired of fish.
The fish were fine. Sure, it took some getting used to, but it was what it was. But willing people who idolize you definitely squirm less than fish. But fish squirm less than people who are unwilling to be a part of that experience also. So it's a sliding scale, a diminishing return. Either way, you're wasting blood if there's not at least some vague willingness or unconsciousness happening, right? Those are the options. So fans are just easiest, I think.
Yes, well, I've never had anyone worship the ground that I walk on, like, you know.
Never?
No.
Not once?
No.
Oh, Ophelia. Dear girl, we are going to have to fix that. There is nothing like, I don't know, somebody worshiping the ground you walk on or fawning at your feet. Like, I've got to fix this for you.
Oh, okay. I've always been the person doing the worshiping.
Oh, easy. We'll find somebody for you. It'll be okay.
I'd like to just point out that our wonderful friend Bram has played a hand of fate for you, Emerenzia, which we will place just on the stack. Not that this is Magic the Gathering, but we're going to place it on the stack so that we were aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for redeeming it. We appreciate it. It just means that now I have to press the issue and find something to require its need.
Sure. So my big concerns right now are finding where will be most appropriate for a woman to perform here, that isn't dancing, because that's not my specialty. I can, just not my specialty, and definitely not the styles they dance here. And 2, where I get a good bath. I've been out at sea far too long. I need to bathe. I need to luxuriate, as the Dhamma taught me to. Like, I need, if my body is a temple, it is in desperate need of a wall.
Yeah, you're probably covered in like weeks of salt at this point. You can feel it because, of course, any water that they would have had on board was brought aboard before they left, and so even that isn't quote unquote fresh water, because honestly, if they were going to use water for anything, they would have used it for like, I think probably cooking, really, because it's all rations
And drinking. Yeah, cooking
Yeah,
and drinking water.
nobody in the Middle Ages drank water. They drank wine because it was safer,
That's true. That's
or
true.
beer
Wine and beer.
because it was
I
safer.
mean, IPAs, we're only cursed with those so that it could transport easier on long voyages. So.
Genevieve comes back at this point. It looks like we're going to get ads in a little while. In a little while, we'll get them. So just so folks know.
I pushed those
Mhm.
for now because I wasn't sure how much longer this scene would be. But
Yeah. We can get to them when this is. Looks like it's got about 4.5 minutes, so we'll get time.
Yep, I enter the room.
you probably come in to me talking about how desperately every inch of my body needs to be soaked and cleaned.
Well, there's a man downstairs that might help us with that.
Excuse me? Emerenzia, eyebrows shoot up. Excuse me? I thought you were just using a hookah when we left. If I knew that we were talking about men to help us with such things, I would have stayed with you.
Right,
Tell
I
us
think
more.
we might have to work up to that with him. His name is Sarah, and yeah, they don't make him like this in Constantinople.
Is he kindred?
He is, I think. I'm pretty sure
You think?
he did something. It was like my mind was being taken over, but in a really good way and not in a I'm trapped in this small little part of my brain way.
That still sounds dangerous.
It did leave me a little breathless. So it's definitely a useful skill. But I do have a line on food for us.
Oh, that would be great because we were just talking about how I am tired of eating fish.
Are you? Yeah, me too. We are going to meet him tomorrow night, and he is going to take us to some individuals that can help us eat while we're in town.
Yes, he specifically called it the Covenant.
I didn't tell them that. But
That's
it
fair.
sounds scary.
It might be.
Can I roll kindred lore for that?
Sure. You can roll intelligence, kindred lore, difficulty 8, 3 successes required.
Ooh,
Like
all right.
hyper specific knowledge about a place you have never been.
Yeah. I don't know if I have. You said 8? Man. That'll teach me to ask questions.
That's right.
All right. But my intelligence is quite high, so. So I rolled 6 dice. I got a 9 and a 0. Do you want me to roll that as an exploding, or do you want me to roll that as double successes?
Do you have an intelligence
that 10.
specialization?
I do for memory.
Yeah, but I just don't.
That's my intelligence specialization.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think it. Well, I'll let you roll it. Yeah, why not? Who cares? We roll the 10. See what happens.
I didn't get it. I got you.
You've never heard of the Covenant before? Maybe it's a political group here. If this person is a member of Kindred Society, maybe it's something specific. The stuff you know about Alexandria is that it's relatively small, right? You're west of Cairo. You're basically on one of the other sides of the space. I see Kid is playing Hand of Fate for Ophelia. So I will put that on the stack because, well, or are you giving it to them to get a win on this test? And we're up against break, but I'm happy to do this live because Hand of Fates are great. We're gonna get blocked by ads. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to go to break, and when we do, You break, and then we'll be back. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back from ads and from our slight little break there. Hopefully, you all did some self care. Very important to do. Very important to. We thoroughly encourage you to do self care if at all possible, because well, you got to make time for yourself. And when these three are around, we're going to have to make time for lots of self care, or perhaps aftercare. We'll get to all of them at some point in the future. So when we last left, there was a scene in the bedroom which had pretty much wrapped with the idea that upon the next evening, they had been invited by this gentleman, this man of mystery that Genevieve had or Maria had met at the bar, to a local forum, a place where people might gather to talk and to debate. Forums, as those of you who lived in Constantinople would know, are very popular. Are also places where small markets can pop up, but at night, in general, they are quiet and undisturbed. And so, as night turned to day, our three have slept. They have prepared themselves for slumber and are patiently waiting the night. So I'm going to ask an important question. And I'm going to ask if there is anything that our trio would like to do specifically before they slumber.
Nope.
If it's not obvious where a girl goes to take a bath, then she'll wait to ask tomorrow.
It doesn't appear to be obvious, no.
Okay. Then sweet. Polly will slumber and take care of that.
Okay.
I'll go to bed salty one last time.
You could have been salty. Any last things for Maria or Genevieve?
I'll tell you my name. No.
Do it.
2 minutes. I actually will kind of continue rifling through the book that the bishop gave me.
Okay.
Because it was about the history of our clan.
Mhm.
Is there any mention of them in Egypt?
Indeed, there is. So if you spend a little time in the tome, you do come across an entry here. There is an entry of some time spent by the clan in Cairo, and some time spent among the pyramids and the Valley of the Kings, which are, you find out, strongly guarded and protected by many different supernatural types. One specifically would be members of the followers of Set. They're a specific kindred bloodline. There were not a lot of Setites at all in Constantinople, at least that you knew about. And while you might have heard of them before, this seems to be their homeland. They're known to be quite crafty. And they have a very specific power of Cain that flows through their blood. And so there's a bit of a uniqueness to them, much like Clan Lasombra. From an opinion standpoint, the bishop doesn't think that they're as dangerous, excuse me, as dangerous as they like to project themselves to be. He thinks they're full of a lot of hot air. And the easiest way to deal with a snake is by chopping its head off.
I mean, the bishop already did give me a mission for Alexandria.
He did. He did indeed. Do you remember what that mission is?
Well, he told me about the story of Osiris,
Mm-hmm.
ancient and powerful entity in the desert, and many of the vampires believe that they are kindred. The entity is kindred given the age.
Mm-hmm.
But the bishop didn't believe they descended from Cain. He wanted me to go locate them and bring me their head in Italy.
The fairy tales, the bedtime stories that you read from the bishop are just so sweet. I mean, go bring me somebody's head.
Nothing says love like or worship bringing somebody a head.
I thought you were going a different way in that. I was just want to make sure we were okay here on Twitch. So you read, and somehow through this reading, you get a sense of feeling closer to that room that you experienced your final moments of life in before you returned. You get a vision of Casilda and Isabella standing above you. You get a vision of them with their hands on your arms, their bodies close to you, their faces just wrought with ferocity, fangs out, prepared to bite you. The blackness of oblivion swirls around you. And you can still see that sort of checkered memory of the faces of oblivion, the bishop, the other Lasombra who were present at your making. You see them hold you. You feel yourself get bit. And the next night is here for you. And so I will tax all of our ghoulies 1 point of blood for surviving the day. And you are awake.
Yeah, I probably wake with a start from that dream because then I still don't know. I still don't know who sired me. It could be that dream was clear as mud, or that vision.
Emerenzia, when you wake, you smell an earthy and almost then fruity tone in the room. It's definitely something that you'd pick up on first. Emerenzia.
Or that I'd pick up first?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
I misheard. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I will investigate the source of that smell. I mean, I will seek it out.
Oh, it's here by the door. Something's been slid under the door.
Oh. I will inspect.
It's a piece of parchment. It's been folded in half. As you open it, you see a beautiful blue flower.
Oh.
I don't know how familiar Emerenzia would be with flowers. Probably somewhat familiar, given art and all of the different things, gardens you've spent time in.
Mm.
This is most assuredly a local flower. Um, its blue petals are arranged in a very tight formation. There must be 20 or 30 of them. They're spear like, not a very wide petal. And so, as you stare down at this, you're fairly certain that this is an Egyptian lotus.
Would I have context for what that means
Mm,
societally? I mean, flowers are a language of their own. So
You would know. Well, I guess would you know? I'm happy to give you a intelligence and academia roll or academics.
okay.
This is it's a symbol of calming. The scent that comes out of it is calming. The blue lotus in this culture is meant to exude calm and peace. It could be an offering of peace. Perhaps someone is trying to tell you that they're not a threat, or perhaps someone is trying to remind you to come in peace rather than some other way. But the parchment itself does have some writing on it. This writing is in Arabic.
Oh, I'll have to wait. I'll have to wake Ophelia up for this. And because nothing will stop me from getting the thing that I want or that will entertain me, that's going to happen right now. Ophelia?
Mm-hmm.
There's a letter in Arabic, and as far as I'm aware, you're the only one who speaks this language. You need to wake up. As I'm like, I have planted a hand on her leg, and I am just continuing to shake her leg.
And I'll like stretch and make like a disgruntled noise in the back of my throat. And I'll sit up in bed and be like, okay, there's a note. What? Okay. And I'll take the note and like look at it like, like kind of blurry eyed, like, okay.
Yeah, it takes you a little while to get your brain wrapped around a different language.
Yeah.
In basis, what this is that there are directions to the forum or a forum here in Alexandria.
Does it specify that it's a forum?
It does.
Oh, that makes me really excited. So I read the note and I get like visibly like I like brighten up a little bit almost. And it's like, oh, Genevieve did not tell us where we were going.
But this does?
Yes, we are attending a forum.
Oh, a forum. I hope nothing happens on our way there. Sorry. I am excited to see what happens when we get there.
Me too, because if it's a forum, the chances of it being primarily kindred is pretty high.
Well, it also came with this flower pressed in the letter, and I'll show her the lotus.
Okay. Can I roll intelligence and academics to
Sure.
see if I know exactly what it's supposed to be?
Sure.
Okay.
Emerenzia got 2, so you can get more information if you get more.
I got 3.
You're somewhat familiar with it from a different angle.
Okay.
You're familiar with it from your master using it as basically some of the pressed oils that come out of them for what is in effect what would be called aromatherapy, would be called a a type of calming oil he might have used on, perhaps he even might have used it on you after he might have been particularly rough with your body.
Fond memories.
It has a totally different connotation when you see it. Like
Yeah.
you immediately think, oh, yeah, I know that smell. It's little almonds, maybe some slight scent of cherry as it eventually calms. Yeah, no, I know what that is.
I mean, it's a flower, and it's typically used for calming individuals.
Hmm.
Um, the smell is particularly pleasant, especially when combined with other things to help bring people at ease.
Well, yes, but they so blue lotus, like these are Egyptian lotus, which I believe this is, are like a not just an effective for calming, but often like a sign of that. So I'm wondering if like some whoever sent us this is trying to show that they're peaceful or wants us to be when we get there as peaceful and chill as possible. I'm just not sure what the significance of it in this context is. Um,
I mean, if I had to guess, because most forums are meant to be places of open mindedness and communication and things like that, that it's I'm hoping that the use is meant more as a arrive with peaceful intentions rather than violent ones.
hmm,
Or it could be for my new friend, Zahara. And he just wanted me to have something pretty to smell.
That could very well be too, Genevieve.
I mean, either way, he gave us the directions to the forum.
Hmm. I wish you had mentioned it was a forum.
It was a really long day. I felt a little out of sorts coming upstairs.
That's true. You were a little out of sorts.
I'm going to continue to be out of sorts until I don't have salt on every crevice of my body anymore. So
Well, I will like get up and make myself, moderately presentable so I can, like, if it's a matter of like leaving the room to ask the proprietor, or like go downstairs, or like stick my head over like a landing or balcony or walkway or something to be like, where are your bathtubs?
You would not say
That
bathtub.
is what I will do.
You would probably say,
No.
where are your baths?
Yeah, where are your baths? Where could we take a bath is actually probably the way I would phrase it.
Um, so the proprietor is happy to direct you to a nearby building, which has baths. They are um, he, they're a bathhouse you could use. They are a protected place, um, and he can certainly assist you with making sure that they're available to you.
Yeah,
he can assist. Damn,
Not like that.
that service.
no, probably to make sure that there wouldn't be any men in there at the time of our bathing.
Of course.
And Miranda's like, what's fun in that? Like, but yes, provided the trio would like to bathe, Matthew certainly can facilitate that happening.
And I would certainly like to bathe.
Yeah. So I won't belabor it, but I am assuming that all three of you are going to bathe. I will give the players the option for that scene, or we can just say y'all bathe and we can move on. Up to you.
We'll all bathe, but I'm definitely going to pull out like bottled supplies that I've brought back from Constantinople.
Yes, the Toreador came prepared. They do have some local scents and oils here, but they're not at all the caliber which you are used to. You're like, oh, that's quaint. You
Oh, they're
have
cute.
fragranced oils. Maybe
Adorable.
maybe I'll use my stuff anyway.
I might try some local scents later, but for today I think I'm just gonna stick with
The water is hot, and that is very pleasing. And you are able to get cleaned up and prepared for it. Um, there are other women here, so you're not alone, just the three of you. There are other women bathing. And it seems, anyway, that the proprietor of this place knows what he has. They post guards outside and signs, certainly signs which say, women only, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. What's that?
I will offer my fancier scents to the other ladies as well.
I won't take you up on it.
I'd like to know.
Mostly.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I'd like to know if Genevieve, or if really any of the ghouls, are keeping the flower that was sent.
Oh, Genevieve seemed to think that it was for her, so I just left it for her, to be honest.
Yeah, she said that it might be from her new gentleman friend, and so I just let her have it.
Yeah.
I pressed it into my new history book.
Okay, very good. Good.
But yeah, so probably since like in a lot of ways I was spoiled, right? Like by my master and everything else, but like I also did come from like I was a slave to a different family before he found me and took me under his wing. So I'm not used to like a lot of the like long-term like high class refinery stuff. So I won't take up the offer for the smellier things just because it's something that I'm not used to.
Okay.
Smellier thing. Mm. So if she left it in her book, will Genevieve be taking me up on a scent, or will you be using the local wares?
I would just use the local wares because I'm already naturally pleasing smelling.
Wow. Okay.
I wouldn't say that to Emerenzia.
No, but to everybody else you would. Some lady at the market hands you oil and you're like, I smell great. Get out of my face.
Fine. Sounds good.
I'm so sorry, Boo. You do.
Well, you know what, Emerenzia? You smell
Ow.
fantastic. Just
Thank you.
amazing. And you're not sure what these other two clown shows are doing, but I'm telling you what, you are ready to go. You can feel the vibe tonight. You're preparing for the forum and whatever this covenant is.
Hopefully it's fun. Most covenants are either boring or incredibly fun. There's very little in between so far.
Following the directions after being clothed and prepared, you make your way through the city at night towards a enclosed structure. This forum isn't an open one like the ones you are used to so many times in Constantinople. This actually has a covering on it, a large canvas tent which covers it. And inside there's a small group of what appear to be mortals who are keeping various collections together like market stalls. This isn't uncommon either. Night markets are very common in Constantinople. You've been to them before. This is something that you would be very familiar with as soon as you walked in. Now, what you would not be familiar with is all of the different types of things which you could purchase here. So there are some exotic materials which wouldn't necessarily always be available in Constantinople, which are much more viable here. In the center of the room, or the center of the space, there is the traditional forum seating where um, people of old have always come and debated ideas or had lectures. This is something that, like a magnet, Ophelia, you're immediately drawn to because here it is. Here's the place where we debate ideas and we talk about what law is and why it's important and history. And you know, you can
and
feel
and
you can feel the presence, although it is not far, just down the coast. Carthage once stood. You can feel it in your blood. You are closer to Carthage than you ever been.
yep, and I do have some money because like the money I'm keeping on me because like there's no telling that like our room might not get robbed by the proprietor himself later on, right?
Hmm.
So like I'm keeping the like actual like cash on me, but I also have like my parchments with me and ink and things. So I'm ready like to be here and take notes like a good little academic. And even though I'm interested in the wares, that is the first place I go and I like it's like I'll meet you guys at the forum and I go and I take a seat.
You go and you take a seat.
Okay. I mean, if we're going to be here for a couple weeks, then I'll probably prioritize the forum and making a good impression tonight and shopping later.
Okay, fair enough. Um, Genevieve, are you going in a specific direction? Are you looking for anybody in specific, or what's the plan?
Well, I'll keep an eye out for my new friend, Zahara.
Okay.
But I also go sit at the. I mean, I will go towards the forum as well to sit and listen. I can't.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta learn the local politics.
Yeah. So probably the first half an hour or so is very much local politics. It's about the regulation of uh, irrigated farms. It's about, well, what trade goods are coming in. It's about how the changes when it comes to the space around the Mediterranean. They talk about the attack that happened in Thessalonica. They talk about the city being sacked. That's a big topic of conversation. They're worried about how viable the city is based on history and like what if we need to call for help and will the city have enough? So there's a lot of consternation, right? A lot of wringing of hands. Um, but a lot of the conversation after the first half an hour begins to sort of dwindle. And then the debate about ideas about what makes the city great still come out. And this is the stuff that you can really bite into topically, those of you who have academia, right? Because not far from here at all, hundreds of years ago, stood quite possibly the greatest collected number of scrolls and tomes in all of Christendom, as we would call it. The Library of Alexandria, which was horribly burned and destroyed, um, sacked, and eventually taken apart. And it's really by many here, it was seen as a cultural step back. That it was that sort of infighting between so many different types of people had laid this place to rest, unfortunately. And it's during this that there is I would say somebody who does not fit the local description, someone who's definitely, I'd say you get a real like Northern European vibe from this guy. Um, he's watching it. He's dressed in something that looks way more Roman than it looks even, you know, local. He's definitely not local. I mean, he seems to be watching the crowd, and he's talking back and forth with a few other people, and he's got people who are coming up to him to ask him questions. They try to sell him things, and he's got seemingly staff or retainers who are deflecting or trying to keep people at bay. And he does not look like he is in. He does not have a healthy pallor. I'll just say that.
So Northern Europe. Got it.
Yes. As the night moves along, the locals begin to dwindle back after wine and after breads, figs, and common banter. People begin to thin out, and there are small little bands of people left. And it's at that point, Genevieve, that you see Zahara step into this space, and he has a extremely attractive woman with him. And she comes in dressed in fine silks. And she has a beautiful necklace of stylized roses around her neckline, silver and red. The red is super bright. They don't come in like arm in arm or together as if they are friends, but they do walk towards the forum together. The smell of her perfume arrives before she does. You see a little group of people who come in behind her that are like caring for her train, like her silks. Zahara acknowledges you, Genevieve, with a respectful bow. Good evening.
I bow back. Sahara.
He defers physically to the woman next to him, and he says, "This is Alessandra Faros." She smiles and acknowledges you. I don't know where the rest of you are in correlation with Genevieve. If you are like next to her, then certainly she'll acknowledge each one of you.
I'm probably finishing taking notes on the forum.
I'm
Ophelia's.
probably with Genevieve instead of that nerd.
I was imagining.
Yeah,
I was imagining
yeah,
Ophelia arguing with locals about law. Oh no, you don't. This is why you need to do this. Like,
well,
Yeah,
actually,
political
the
forum in the language I don't speak.
yeah. So chances are, since it's the first forum that I've attended here, I probably just took a shit ton of notes, and I'm just kind of compiling my notes and making sure that everything lines up correctly, so that way I can come to forum perhaps tomorrow or the night after and be able to participate.
Okay. This.
So I would come like later, probably after initial introductions were done.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Good to know. Lysandra extends a greeting. She genuflects in your direction, the two of you. I serve at the behest of Clan Toreador.
Fantastic. It's nice to meet another Toreador. Oh,
She brightens.
I mean, I'll repeat etiquette back to her because I'll follow her lead. So the genuflex and the shit-eating grin will go together hand in hand.
Yep. We are just waiting on two more. The aforementioned Northern European man stalks over. He's much taller than the group assembled here. Your host, Zahara, turns to him and says, Lord Baldwin, we have guests in the city. And he sort of widens his stance a little bit and acknowledges the two of you. Where do you hail from?
Originally or most recently?
Most recent is fine.
Constantinople.
If you come in peace, you shall be allowed to stay in peace, he says in sort of a flat tone.
We have no intention of trouble here. At least as far as I'm aware. I'll smirk and look at Genevieve.
Lysandra sort of almost patronizingly taps Baldwin on his arm. And she says to him, there's no reason to try to scare anyone. We're just all dealing with a different facet of this existence. She almost rubs his arm like, hey, everything is going to be okay, big guy. Don't get too worried. And seemingly, Baldwin does not pick up on like the layer of, social differences that she's essentially not chiding him, but sort of like, it's okay, kiddo, you'll be fine. He's not picking up on any of that, seemingly. Perhaps he's just really good at doing that. Sahara says to you, Genevieve, is your third joining us? He points over to the forum where like Ophelia is rapidly taking notes.
How far away is she?
You could yell for her.
Yeah,
if you
I'll
want.
yell at her. Hey!
Oh no.
I love the way that looks. Hey. Sort of yell. You get yelled at.
And I just hold up a finger. Like, hold on. And I finish taking notes and I like pack my stuff up and I'll wander over. Good evening. Sorry about that.
The dark-skinned man now acknowledges you. He bows in respect to you and says, the forum is a wonderful place to exchange many knowledges.
Yes, it is. And it was the first time I've been able to attend one in another city. So it was very exciting.
Good. The group sees a man approach from a different direction towards the group. He wears a very odd, at least odd for this space, outfit. He's in what looks like dark brown, almost sackcloth robes. It's something that you would much more akin with like someone who might deal with like a mortuary or like a graveyard. And he walks over and stands next to Sahara and just stays silent. Sahara turns and gestures to him and says, this is Brother Theodoric. He is silent most days. But there are those he speaks with who are no longer with us.
I see.
Does that make him Clan La Sombra?
You ask?
No, I'm just thinking back to my history of the book I read.
Oh, so not necessarily. You are I don't know how much vampire or clan lore you might have as far as not within Lasombra, but you know that there are other kindred who can talk to the dead. The largest group of them would be the Cappadocians, who regularly speak with the dead. It's kind of their bag in its entirety. This is the Covenant. Lysander nods. Alexandria is not a very large city, and so those of us who live here full time are careful when newcomers arrive because we are very careful about what goes on publicly. I I am somewhat aware of perhaps differences between here and Constantinople, not just by size, but by how it is ruled. The, the Covenant are a group, a council. We keep the peace for the health of all. Tell me, what brings you here?
I am looking to understand my history.
Your history? What? Whose blood do you have within you?
Bruja.
She she smiles. I'm happy to give you perception awareness.
Okay.
To pick up any subtle differences.
Three.
She seems to be acknowledging and has a pleasant reaction to you naming your clan. We understand that many come, the learned ones. Bruja here have come and come. And then they go when they see that there is no more hidden wisdom at the library.
I'm not necessarily looking for hidden wisdom. I'm seeking to understand as much of my history as I can.
Hmm.
There is only so much that my sire has been able to teach me so far.
Lord Baldwin speaks up and says, there are scrolls that were saved from the library. The mortals are not aware of it, but some of us were able to gather what we could. If you've interest in reading over some of them, perhaps we could begin a dialogue.
I absolutely would be interested in reading them.
Hmm. Lysandra looks at you, Emerenzia, and says, and what brings your sweet face to this city?
Um, Frankly, keeping these two, keeping these two. I also have been performing for the same audiences, partying with the same people, enjoying the same company for long enough that, frankly, any change of pace is nice.
Well, I invite you out to Pharos, the island, if you were interested in a change of pace.
I mean, I would be happy to explore, to visit.
We could introduce you to some of the politicos here in the city. With the right time, you might be able to gather something of inspiration for your next project. I'm certain that you have something that you would like to work on, And the Mediterranean on this side is quite inspirational. The lighthouse is something that mortals still are drawn to, like fireflies.
I would love to see that.
Mm. The Toreador turns to you, Genevieve, and says, and you, just traveling along with your two friends or something specific?
I am.
Which one?
Hmm, Why not both?
Why not both indeed? Well, if there is something that you are looking for, perhaps a specific type of information, perhaps hidden wisdom of the desert, I'm certain that Sahara can assist you in finding it.
I'm certain he can.
There is no head of the snake here. No one of us rules over anything. We keep things together as best we can. If there is a dispute, we discuss it here in the forum. And we never feed in the streets.
Speaking of which, that is something we have no mind about, I'm sure. But I've I'll look that Toreador straight in the eye. I have only fed on fish for weeks.
You,
So
yeah, You see the reaction like on her face. It's so subtle, but you realize like the pain she feels for you. I,
I would be delighted to take your company, but fish.
yes, of course. Why don't we retire from the forum here to a local building that I keep, a a music hall.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes, minstrels and singers from all over the region, and enough to sate your appetite and perhaps grow it.
A fire behind Emerenzia's eyes as she smirks to that. I feel probably says enough to that invitation. I'll just look eagerly to my compatriots. Like, come on.
I'll go feed. That sounds great.
Two.
Okay. Baldwin doesn't seem to be as plussed by the idea. He sort of states matter of factly that he's going to stay and ensure the rest of this is as it's needed. And then he sort of states something that you have already felt in your bones is about him, Genevieve. But he states it for the record, just so that way everybody's clear. He says, if there's one job that Clan Venture knows, it's how to keep order.
Yeah, I figured he was going to be a clan Ventru by his personality. Because if there's one thing I know, it's clan Ventru. Yeah.
Okay. Zara invites you to walk with him as you head to this music hall.
Like me personally, because that would be.
Yep, you personally.
Wow. Does he offer me his elbow or anything? Because I'm not that kind of girl.
I don't think he does. No.
I don't need no man.
Mm-mm.
I mean, um,
You don't need no man, but you need the blood. So there's that.
that is true. Yeah. So I walk and pace with him to the music hall.
Okay. You walk in pace. He says, "You didn't say. I find it interesting. Are you keeping it a secret?"
Oh, sometimes mysteries are fun. I enjoy this guessing game very much.
Intriguing. I can imagine.
I didn't hear you say.
You didn't. Are you interested in knowing?
No. I mean, but she totally is. But no.
Well, then perhaps we'll have an opportunity to discover each other's mysteries. The walk to the hall is not terribly far. It's probably about 5 blocks. But the change in culture and tempo is different. So within about a building or two of the place, Emerenzia, you can hear the drums that are being used inside. There is a super up tempo tribal beat that's going on inside the place. It's a regular old rave, thanks to 1185 AD. There are people of all shapes and sizes cavorting within this place. Um, they're dancing together. They are dancing in groups, and it seems that your new Toreador friend, Lysandra, has her own flesh pit of sorts.
Flesh pit. Hooray. That's internal.
Right.
It's still hooray.
Certainly. There are people lined up along the walls here, and some of them are serving drinks, and some of them are the drinks being served. That's probably the best way to put it. She sheds her outer garments as she gets deeper into the darkness that's here. And some of her retainers, at least you assume they're her retainers, take her clothes. She's wearing now just really light silks, just to veil and to stay in style. And she walks you through um, the offerings. They have many different tastes. They have people here who imbibe specific things. And so she tells you that if you are interested in feeling again the flavor of specific intoxicants, specific wines, specific drugs, that, certainly this man or this woman or this body could help you out. It's really something unique. It feels like being in I guess, a lesser version of the vaunted parties that the Dama and you frequented when you were younger.
That's fantastic. Um, I will start with specific wines that the Dom and I have enjoyed that I used to drink for her to experience. So I can be on that side of it for once, as this sort of, I don't know, internally coming into the, oh, I'm on the Dama side of this now. I can just pick
Yeah.
now, instead of enjoying things for her to enjoy. I can see what it was like for her now.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna pick somebody who's a good vintage of wine for how the Dom and I used to trade.
Certainly. You make a selection. The young serving girl is of age and supple flesh and giggly from all of the wine that she's ingested. It does not take her terribly long to become infatuated with what you're wearing and how you smell. And the two of you can wind around to a corner or a portion of the room of your choosing. But before you do that, I want to let our listeners or our watchers know here we're going to get ads in a second. I can't do anything about them. They are just part of the show. If you are subscribed to the show, you won't see ads. We won't go to a long break because I think this is probably just going to be like maybe a minute ad, I think. And then we'll be back. We'll see if it actually runs because, there's a delay. Yes. Yes, chat. Scent-based descriptions. You got to engage all 5 senses. That's the goal. I haven't even seen the ad run yet.
I've been an absolute creep with my cast gifts.
Yeah, so that's there you go. There's now the ad break is going. So we'll be in ads for a couple minutes. That's okay. So it's the finale. It's cool to talk to subscribers and supporters of the channel and who aren't getting this ad. So that gives me an opportunity to thank you for subscribing here on Twitch. We greatly appreciate it. It helps us do a ton of different things. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we'll be back here on June 20th. I posted it in chat, but I will have the more formal announcement coming in the next couple of days on all the social media channels. We're going to raise money for Trans Lifeline. And then a week after, we're going to be back here. And because we're in ads, and I will let it, just will share a secret between you and just the folks here who are subscribers. The game that we're going to play on the 27th is a game actually that got mentioned in chat very recently. So I'm going to run a one-shot of Mystery Flesh Pit National Park for some players here on the channel. So it's cipher system based. And the cool part about that is it's super rules light. It's the same system we use for our sci-fi game. And Children of the Periphery, which you should totally listen to because there are that's something we get to see more, hear more of Morgan, and occasionally we get a cameo from Allie in it. So, so absolutely. Hopefully you're back here. We're going to use that game to raise money for Lupus, of the Lupus Foundation of America, a charity that we're super excited to raise for if we can. And it is part of the same time we're doing our virtual 6 miles in 6 days, which you could totally join. And I will just put in chat here, make your mark, which hopefully still works. If it doesn't, I'll have to fix it. But I'll link in chat the link for you to join our Lupus team, the Old Ways team, to help raise money for Lupus, which friend of the show, cast member, and Ghoulie member, Bunny got to do. And we've got like 30 seconds. So plug what you did at GoTel.
Oh, yeah. So as a moderator of GoTel, I get very, very excited about talking about this. Game On to End Lupus happens every year. It's a streamed event that kicks off Lupus Awareness Month, which is every May. And this year was the 6th annual event. It started May of 2020. 6th annual event. And we broke $1 million raised as of last weekend.
Fuck yeah.
I'm so stoked. It was incredible. We have over 160 people participating this year, but anyone can join. Hit me up if you want details, but it's incredible and I love it. And I'm so glad that Michael and the podcast are raising money for the LFA and time. That was the end of the ad break.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. I totally sprung that on you, so thanks for being a trooper. The command would have worked if I had spelled it right. So there's the way you can join the Old Ways team to be a part of it and come help raise money to fight lupus, because fuck lupus. Okay, but back to the flesh pit, because that's what y'all are really here for, as we all know. So Emerenzia has plucked some, waiting, succulent piece out for herself. And I wonder then what Ophelia is doing. And we'll get to Genevieve in a second. I have something special planned.
So I haven't experienced like anything. Like I'm sure that like occasionally Master Callius would have me like drink wine or something to imbibe from me directly, but I don't think that was really like his cup of tea like all the time. So I'm going to step a little out of my comfort box and say surprise me, and I will feed from whoever is placed in front of me.
Oh, I like the randomness of this. Okay. So you take hold of one of the nearby people. You get your hands on a warm piece of flesh. This is a man, sturdy, dark skinned, and you bite down. When you do so, you begin to draw his blood into your body. Again, warm, almost hot. The space in here for them must be so warm. People are sweating and dancing. The blood that you take from him coats your mouth and your chin, and there's a bit of spray that goes out. It's unavoidable. And that's not because you're being a messy eater by any means. It's because he is moving and writhing in a unbelievably and almost uncontrolled way from the sheer ecstasy of this bite.
That's a little unnerving, actually. And that probably makes me stop feeding early. Like, you're moving too much. It's freaking me out.
You get enough of his blood in your body that when you stop and sort of push back a little bit and step away, you are suddenly a little dizzy and the room spins for a second. And you can't remember the last time you were intoxicated. But now you feel it in your blood and in your body. And there's the drumming around you, and the bodies are moving, and people are continuing to cavort. And it becomes this scene through your eyes where it's almost like an oil painting that gets smudged as you drift around the room.
Yeah, I'll eventually probably just want to find something soft to land on and kind of let it work its way.
Yes, her name is Catherine, but you certainly find something soft to land on. For you, Genevieve, Zahara takes you to a different spot in the room. You actually end up climbing a very short flight of stairs, and you see that there's a balcony that exists inside the room. There's seating up there. And there are people that are sitting, they're kneeling over the railing, just sort of watching this existence continue, this flesh pit. And he extends his hands towards some of the seating that's up here. There's couches and, chaise lounges, or what is in effect a chaise lounge. and then some pillowed seats.
Yeah, I take a seat in one of the pillowed seats.
Do you prefer this view?
I do.
Lysandra has these types of events fairly regularly. So if this is something you enjoy, the city will be a bounty to you.
Not sure how long we'll be here for.
It's common within our kind to move around, though. It's safer that way. I have traveled very far to be here.
Yeah, I pegged you for a local.
Most do. I have the skin tone for it, even after being blessed with this unlife. You, however,
Mm-hmm.
you don't remind me of any locals. As I've said, I'm going to guess you're from perhaps France?
Well, I've traveled a lot between then and now.
Hmm. It's what makes us. Where we are is what makes us. The kindred here are at a tipping point. With the three of you here now, it could change the balance. That is what Baldwin's worried about. He wants to control you and everything in front of him.
I'm not worried about Clan Venture.
No? Oh, they made their mark here years ago. Before Carthage. But they don't get to delve too deeply into Cairo. There are many who keep them out.
So the Covenant runs the city for our kind.
Yes?
Which clans are represented?
Are we doing a discovery by subtraction? Not all the clans are represented. There is no formal member of Clan Bruja here outside of the one that you have brought. There are perhaps at most 2 handfuls. There is a Malkav here, and you must be careful of him. He enjoys winding newcomers up and turning them towards the desert. There are, of course, Brother Theodosius, the Cappadocian I mentioned. Myself. And occasionally we will get a member of Clan Gangrel. Usually they come by ship. again, they travel very often. They move. And the beasts of the wild here are dangerous to them. There are more than vampires in Egypt.
And you're also represented by Clan Toreador as Lysandra. She's also in the Covenant.
Lysandra?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
She is
But I
one
noticed-
of the leading members.
But I noticed you didn't mention yourself.
No, I figured we would exchange that together.
Maybe at some point. So what do you eat? Young, old, male, female?
I am selective with what I eat, but not so picky as I would be forced to sit at Baldwin's table. The blood I ingest is generally cold.
She gives him a look.
I purify the blood that I ingest. For me, feeding is more of a challenge.
And why is that?
It is part of who I am. It is part of how I was made. But it gives me strength.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I will go partake.
Feel free. I simply thought that one who clings to the shadows so well would appreciate the elevation.
Oh, I do enjoy the view. I get up and go find myself a couple of lovely, well-built people to feed on.
Yes, mountains to conquer, which is where we find Emerenzia, conquering many mountains. They smell like day flowers and just the right touch of wildflowers. Your Toreador host is ravenous. The pit, the place you eventually find yourself in, having been frolicking with food and with friends now, all these new friends. The pit is quite something. The rhythm inside of it, the churn of bodies is exhilarating, especially when you finally get to feed on something other than fucking fish.
This is everything that I needed it to be. Thank you.
I think the best way to put this is slides over towards you. She doesn't necessarily move, but she, like as in stand up and walk, she slides over the oil covered bodies that are in the pit towards you.
Sure.
She's obviously her dress is less than socially acceptable at this point, but I don't think that she cares. And you don't think that she cares? She says the city here is a wash with those looking for something other than the streets of Cairo. And the wine is easily to access to them. It is relatively cheap, And they come here to break their boredom. And
Sure.
when the time is right, we break them.
You break them.
Well, certainly, there are those who are useful to us. Many of the city's officials are pawns, important ones, but pawns. And
Sure.
they have families, they have people they care for, and they come here in exchange for us keeping them in power.
Hmm.
It's a wonderful exchange, really. It benefits everyone.
It does sound like that. What for a place that doesn't have many of us, what a sight this still is, though.
Hmm. It is a gem. It is a place which others have forgotten. The learned, so for hundreds of years, focused on the loss of the library, which is regrettable. But there is more to this city than the library.
I can't wait to see more of it.
Hmm. If you're planning on staying, perhaps we could talk more about how the city will change.
At least a couple weeks, maybe longer.
Hmm.
I have plans elsewhere that I must attend to at some point.
Well, she extends a hand out and searches for you,
Hmm.
like your arm.
I'll connect a hand with hers.
You connect your hand with hers. When you do, I'm going to have you roll willpower.
Oh boy.
And I do see that Bramble played a hand of fate. So we will keep that in mind just in case something untoward happens.
Okay. Um.
Willpower roll, difficulty 7.
Oh, that one's lost to the ages. Let's try that again with another die. That is one success.
Okay, I am definitely playing that hand of fate for you.
Thank you.
You get a sudden and powerful mental image. You see the streets of Constantinople. You see the Palace District. In the Palace District, you see him. You see Michael walking through the Palace District. And every single footstep is the same sort of quaking thunder rolling out. And you are able to experience this only because you don't go into complete bodily shock from the vision.
Okay.
You see him approach the palace. So Doom walks directly past the Dama's house. You can see him, you can see the wings, the walking stained glass, which is Michael. And he steps towards the bridge that connects to the palace. And as he does so, you see in his hand, he is now wielding this sword. Behind him, there is a small figure, a feminine one, draped in black. And you get this feeling in your gut that something horrible is about to happen. And worse, you don't know who is in control. Michael or the figure in black.
Oh.
When the doors of the palace open, a palace you have been to before,
Or
and those Ventru retainers and guards who stand watch arrive, Michael obliterates their bodies. He saws through them like fresh meat. And then the waves begin. Guard after guard after guard. And this figure in black, this woman covered in head to toe in black, just simply wades behind him, walking through the awful, the remains of Michael's work. And as your vision dims, you hear his voice in your head. And the haunting voice in your head says, "You touched me, and so I will touch you." And you get this snap sound of the Dhamma screaming. And then you come out of it. You are laying against the side of the flesh pit, close to Lysandra, who is catatonic. And there are people, retainers, trying to get to her. And they don't seem necessarily as concerned about you, but they are certainly concerned about her.
hey, uh,
She's repeating this same word over and over and over again. She keeps repeating Mikael. She keeps repeating the Greek version of Michael. And you realize like she's bleeding from her eyes.
um. Okay. Okay. Uh. She has a swarm of people trying to attend to her,
Mm-hmm.
mostly intoxicated though. Um. Do I do I see if I'm frantically looking around this room for familiar faces, would I end up seeing either of the other ghoulies or that man that Genevieve seems to be friends with now?
Sahara, you certainly
Mhm.
would see. I think it's reasonable that you'd probably see one or both of the ghoulies. I mean, I don't imagine Genevieve is very far, relatively
Mhm.
speaking. I mean, she's probably feeding in some sense. Ophelia is not far, but probably trying to recover from still being intoxicated. And then there are faces that you recognize that are around.
Uh, I feel like I should get one of the other equals of hers. So yeah, I would try to wave one of the other familiar faces down and being frantic and flailing and probably sobbing uncontrollably. If the other ghoulies notice me, I am probably not being subtle at all. I only know how to put on a show, and boy, is this a display of emotions.
Yeah, that's very true. So either of you others, ghoulies can certainly react to this. You would have seen not the act happen between Lysandra and Emerenzia, but you would have heard the screaming that eventually gets up over the rest of the crowd noise and the drumming, which is beginning to die away.
Help. We
Ah.
need help over here. Please, somebody. Flailing.
Even intoxicated, I would probably go and try to help. Because if I hear Emerenzia in a state like that, I know something's wrong. So I would probably try to help.
Okay.
However I could.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly strong enough to pull her out of the flesh pit.
Then that's what I do, at the very least.
Yeah, I come rushing over just as you're pulling her out.
She'll need. I'll keep pointing at Lysandra, especially as I will forever want to call you Genevieve. Comes over. You should get her accomplices, acquaintances, whatever they are. Peers. I don't think we should talk here, but we really need to talk.
Then we should go back to our room.
Either that or a quiet corner here. But I think the middle of this throng of people is probably not wise.
Do you want to stay?
I feel like I should know what happens with her if she can be woken up. The bleeding from the eyes is not a good sign.
Yeah, I'll go pull Lysandra out of the flesh pit.
So it's very difficult to get to Lysandra without having to be very direct. She has a lot of retainers who are trying to get her under control. But it seems like she's fighting them, not like in a direct conscious way, but in an unconscious or subconscious way. She's, writhing and jerking around.
Can I use charisma leadership?
Yeah, you want to give some orders? Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Yep. Tell the retainers to move so I can help Lysandra up out of the
Certainly.
pit.
Go right ahead. Make a roll.
All the dice. I also have commanding voice. It's a specialty, so.
Okay, reroll 10s. Uh-oh.
Hang on, I almost threw my dice out.
You're going to need those. Don't do that.
All right. Oh, my goodness. That was hilarious. All right. I have 7 successes.
Well, that's quite a few. Yeah, your voice booms over the crowd. And it sounds like someone shouted from the heavens. The retainers and the ghouls immediately retract from your presence. You exhibit and exude a wave of fear if they don't do what they're told. So you have a very clear path now to Lysandra.
Yeah, I'll walk right over to her and throw her over my shoulder.
Okay, you throw the bloody body of a Toreador over your shoulder. Probably not the first time, but Zahara is there at the edge of this flesh pit, and he says there's a space downstairs, a private one we can take her to. And he
I'll look for Ophelia in the crowd and try to catch her eyes.
Yep.
And I will be bringing Emerenzia with me. Like, I'm sure that I have my arm like firmly wrapped around you to like help hold you up in whatever like potential
she's
like
trembling.
semi-catatonic state you're in.
She is trembling, quaking in the least pleasant way that she probably has in a long time.
You get taken downstairs, underground, into a small dugout, what looks like a basement. It's no bigger than 15 by 15. There's a slab here where you could lay Lysandra's body out.
I do. I lay her down carefully.
There's a small flickering torch nearby, and Sahara looks over her. Almost like he's maybe got some sort of medical knowledge. He takes something out from a pouch at his side and begins to crush it up like in his hands. It's a very familiar blue Egyptian lotus flower. He begins adding a couple other pieces to it, and then you see him dab like oil into his hands, and he continues to work it like feverishly. And then he rubs it on her forehead. And he says a prayer for her in Arabic, which is something that only Ophelia really understands. He basically asks Allah to give her peace, and that so that her body may calm and she may come back from whatever has bedeviled her.
Is she still saying Michael's name over and over?
No, it's more of a mumble now. But after a moment or two here on the slab, and after Sahara puts this calming ointment on her, she does seem to relax a little bit. The Zahara turns to you, Emerenzia, and says, "What happened?"
Well, we were talking about the city and changes and possibly staying. And then when we touched God, the visions, oh God, they were so terrible. And she's just going to fall to the floor crying. Michael cutting people down in the streets of Constantinople. A figure with him. I couldn't quite make out who she was. I think he might have just killed or hurt my sire very badly. I don't know if I should have left. Not knowing what's happening there is almost worse than whatever would have happened to me if I stayed.
He looks concerned.
She's just mumbling now, but she was still saying Michael's name over and over again when we came out of it, and probably why her eyes are bleeding. She saw him too, and as somebody who maybe hasn't seen him in person before, um, maybe wasn't prepared to brace herself the same.
Perhaps. We do not know much of Michael, but other than they say he is unlike any.
He's like nothing I could. He's like nothing I've ever seen. Stained glass and beauty and fury.
She should calm. He gestures back to Alessandra. Oh, I will stay with her.
I don't know what we do now. I look up at Ophelia and Genevieve. I just don't know what we do now. The last thing I heard was the Dama screaming. I know you want to stay, but what do we do now?
We go home.
Not going home. To get destroyed by Michael?
To rescue the people we love, maybe?
And get destroyed in the process.
That might be something that hasn't yet come to pass. I mean, what would you have us do?
Wait. Gather
Wait.
power.
Wait for what? She will look at you, doe-eyed, tear-soaked, just Genevieve. Wait for what?
We'll wait for the gift of Osiris to bestow upon us power. Power to beat our enemies.
The gift of who?
The gift of what?
What if I could prove to you that there's no hope in us going back right now?
I mean, one, prove how, and two, what constitutes no hope, that the people that we care about are dead?
Oh, if Michael is already on his rampage in Constantinople, how long does it take us to get back? A couple weeks? That is, if we don't have to make stops between then and now. Michael, can I use my medium merit?
Oh, I love this. How would you like to use your medium merit? The first time here for the show, you're using it.
Yes. I would like to utilize it to talk to somebody in the spirit world that recently passed in Constantinople, or somebody that might be haunting Constantinople. Tell me what the current state of affairs are there.
Okay, so the way medium is going to work would be for you to talk to spirits here that would be in the area. So it's not like you would be able to contact somebody at long distance with the medium merit. It's basically that you can sense the presence of the dead that exist in the Shadowlands and can have conversations with them. That's a local thing. It's not like it's not a power which you could use at long range. It doesn't mean you couldn't potentially seek assistance from, say, someone locally to get word of what's going on in Constantinople. Um, I would say that, especially somebody who has a ton of academia knowledge like Ophelia, um, if the if Michael is rampaging in Constantinople as Emerenzia fears, 2 weeks is way too long.
Yeah.
There's no way to, and even if you were to get there, your master was concerned about what hope he would have against a kindred that old. The three of you are far too young to deal with something like that. It's a death sentence that you'd be issuing up on yourself. It's unwise. That's just
Oh, I really wasn't gonna go.
no. I know, but like I'm saying, like Ophelia's rational, has a rational brain too. Like,
Yeah, like the initial like kick into gear to go home and check on, the person that I left behind, that I
Yeah.
was told to leave behind.
Right.
It like that's what kicked in more than anything
Oh, yeah.
first.
Shock, you went with your feelings, Bruja.
Oh no.
Yeah. But you can certainly use the medium power to look around for those who have passed here. That might avail you something. You don't know what specifically, but you could certainly look for ghosts.
If I meditate, can I go back to the plane of existence where I was talking to the bishop at?
You've never tried it
ship?
without the book.
Oh. Okay,
Are you gonna try it without the book?
I could. I guess. What am I?
Yeah.
Listen, I caught Michael say you haven't tried it without the book, not it's impossible without
That's
the book.
true.
So I had to
That's
ask.
true.
Yeah, you know how it is. Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and make me a manipulation of tenebration roll. And it'll be 3 successes required. Your difficulty is 7.
I got 6 successes.
Jeez. Chat's a little wild right now. I like that. So you sit down and you delve into yourself. You find the darkness that sits at the core of who you are, that kiss of oblivion that you found in the basement of the church in Constantinople. And as you focus on it, you come back to the scene of your rebirth. You feel the hands of Isabella and Casilda on you. You feel them holding you down. You feel them, wait, no, holding you in place. You feel another hand on your stomach, just below your sternum. It feels like the hand of death. And you feel the moment when oblivion enters you. And you finally have a moment of clarity in that oblivion. The blackness delivers it to you on a silver platter. You realize now it's a piece of the bishop in you. The fangs you feel at your neck are his fangs. It's his darkness that was bled into you. All the while, he forced Isabella to watch. And with that completion, that sort of bookend, you arrive mentally in the church basement, in a dark room with a single table, stone, the same table that you were strapped to. And there is a silhouette standing on the other side of the table. Its features are murky and difficult to make out. But there is a reflection in that glossy blackness, and it is you. What do you need, my child?
Are you in Constantinople? Oh, my lord. Are you in Constantinople? I can't fucking say it.
Work it out. We're good.
Constantinople. Sire.
The darkness comes forward. It bleeds onto the table and then over the table to stand in front of you. I am within the city walls, yes.
Has Michael come forth?
No. No, he still slumbers.
My
What?
Torador friend had a vision that Michael comes forth and kills her sire.
The Dhamma. What would Michael have need for to kill his own members of his own line? Is this all she said?
It is.
Well, Michael still slumbers. If this is a vision, perhaps it is something still to come.
Let's hope.
You care for her.
She's a friend.
Friends have benefits.
They do. Everyone has a place.
As do you. And now you know it.
Yes, sire.
This silhouette puts what you think is a hand on your shoulder. It leans closer to you. You can see the swirling darkness, the tendrils that begin to come off the back of this form. And before you escape into whatever oblivion has waiting for you that night, you hear the bishop, you hear your sire's voice say, "Show me you know how to obey." For those of you outside Genevieve's mind, something has occurred to you. Something has occurred to Genevieve's body. And that is a swell of darkness and shadows around her. The floor has darkened in tendrils and symbols around her feet. It's as if all the room's shadows are begging to be closer to her. And your, just say, escort friend, Zahara, he looks deeply concerned. Does she employ these magics often?
Um, she's. I'll look to Ophelia with an uneasy look. She's the most recent among us. So we haven't watched her use much in the way of these or other powers very often yet. I cannot tell you if this is going to be a trend, oh, a frequent trend.
This is the second time total that we've seen her utilize any magics like this.
Emerenzia is going to, obviously fruitlessly, since we're in a room with kindred, very quietly go. That's Alexandria for you.
You see almost a sign of acknowledgement, perhaps even resignation on Zahara's face. I guess if you're confirming something for him. I will tell you this. If she consorts with demons, she will not be welcome in this city.
I think she's communing with a priest back home, but 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right?
He tilts his head to you.
I mean, of that clan, even a priest can give as much as a fright as a demon, I think.
You have a very nuanced view of the Alessandra.
Well, I don't trust them inherently.
I have never seen one do this.
She's, as Ophelia mentioned, she's gathered shadows once before. It wasn't demonic. It was almost the symbols are new. I will gesture at the floor, sort of trying to gather myself and wipe tears away. The symbols are new, but the shadows, not so much. She just gathered them before for privacy once. So
I will take Lysandra's body back to her home It is where she should rest. The event upstairs is over. The crowd is dispersed.
Okay.
I bid you peace.
He was.
He picks up her body with in a respectful manner and
Oh, um, you know where we're staying. Please let me know if she recovers all right. Like if you know before we get to here.
I will send word.
Thank you. She'll let him leave then, but she just not knowing if the Dama's going to be okay, and also not knowing if she's going to be okay. There's just too many unknowns right now.
Lots of unknowns for sure. You come out of it, Genevieve, soon after Zahara leaves.
Yeah, look over at Ophelia and Emerenzia. Say, oh my.
Constantinople. There you go.
Constantinople. I'm going to say it. I've been saying it all season. Still stands. Michael still sleeps.
Well, that's amazing. I was hoping that was. I mean, hope is a hard, strong word. I need to send word to the Dama somehow. I should warn her. I don't know how far into the future that might be, but if it hasn't happened yet, she needs to know.
I've also let the bishop know. So he could possibly warn her too.
We should get a messenger out as soon as possible then.
Yes. I mean that won't help everybody, but it might guard some.
I mean, if we get a messenger to the Dama,
She's very likely
Yeah.
to warn others.
yeah, she is very well connected, socially speaking, so she might actually have some of the furthest reach if we can get news to her. If the bishop does not. And I kind of like side eye Genevieve just a little bit, like, because I don't know the bishop and y'all are kind of creepy, so
You know, honestly, I think it's a fantastic way to sort of close down the finale. So we're left with a lot of questions here at the end of the first season of Stealing Immortality. But in many ways, we did exactly what we said we'd do on the tin. Our ghoulies over the first season stole immortality, for better or for worse. And there was an awful lot of fun. So, as was mentioned in the title of the show, this is the season one finale, which means I'm happy to tell you that our ghoulies will be back in the near future. We don't exactly know when just yet, but there's a busy, busy June ahead for most of us. And I look forward to seeing us back pretty soon because the sands of Egypt still have many treasures, some of which our players are going to get a chance to check out. So I want to thank our viewers, those of you who support the channel here. And I want to give one last time this season my players to remind you who they are, what they do. And I'll just remind them that we've got just a couple minutes before ad starts, but don't worry about that because I am going to find a place for us to raid out to.
All right, one last time for this season. I'm Morgan. I play Genevieve de Montfort, or Marie. And pronouns are she, her. part of Clan Lasombra. Had an awesome time this season. You can find me on the Old Ways Discord, and doing other things here on Twitch with the Old Ways and doing all sorts of, I don't know, whatever. Come find me. And yeah, we'll be back soon.
I'm Bunny. I played your now broken Toreador vampire Emerenzia, who, you know, our pronouns are both she, her. You can find me also in the Discord, on Twitch, everywhere. I'm Fiery Ashes, almost everywhere I'm Fiery Ashes. I'm a full-time variety streamer. I'm a charity streamer. I'm in other Old Ways projects, one of which just started dropping preludes, so you'll hear my voice very soon elsewhere. And I promise it's as gay as ever. Okay. So come find me. We can hang out still. We can be pals. Find me in the Discord. Find me on Twitch. I know Nyarla hangs out in my stream, was earlier today. And yeah, I look forward to interacting with you all soon and longingly penning letters to the Dama for however long we're away.
Cool.
And for the last time this season, I am Allie. I have been playing Ophelia, our resident Bruja, and extra touchy-feely person, less touchy, more feely. And you can find me on the Old Ways Discord server. And I am pleased to announce that as of last week, OSL is back and will be having episodes come out every couple weeks from there. So Agent Heart is back in action and hopefully as feral as ever.
We all need a drink. Awesome. So I was going to read out some, but I don't have anybody up, so I'm happy to take suggestions. But barring any of that, I hope everybody enjoyed what we offered this year. It's been a fun season, and I'm certain that we'll continue to have big fun in season 2.